All right. Now, looks like I'm almost in business. Almost in business. And I got my handy dandy tea for those who were on last week and know that I've been sick, but I am still going to fight this battle and win. All right, New Orleans. Okay. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, which is, we do a lot of similar things that you guys do in New Orleans. Y'all do gumbo. We have okra soup. Y'all do crawfish. We like whole blue crabs. I am doing well, Wigs by Siobhan. All right. I don't know. I can't see who's checking in on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you just drop in the chat where you're checking in from, let me know. So guys, you're going to see me kind of looking back and forth because I have multiple screens going here. Unfortunately, the platform that I use, they do not stream to IG just yet. However, I do not want to neglect my IG family. I see you laughing, Benjamin. Yes, we about that good eating, but we're Gullah. But I love y'all accents too down there in Louisiana. All right, as you're checking in, let me know exactly where you're checking in from. Facebook especially. I cannot see who is coming in on this live, so let me know where you're checking in from. And I'm going to give it a few minutes just for some folks to be able to get in here and get in the room so we can start this chat and talk a little bit about some taxes. We are in tax season officially. So I wanted to come on and just have some conversations, see what questions you guys may have as we begin to prepare for your taxes to go over to your preparer. So I wanted to have, just a little chat with you guys. And just so you know, at 9 o'clock, we'll be heading over to Clubhouse. So if you're not following me on Clubhouse, I'm actually Tawanna BBS3 LLC over there. Join us. There's going to be a panel of accountants and tax pros with different niche markets that will be on the platform to be able to help you guys and answer some questions. So that will be fun. I kind of like that platform. 9 o'clock is pushing it for my bedtime, but hey, all for the people. I love it. All right. All right, it's 7:06. I'm going to give it a few more moments here. Let me get this shared here. And I am almost done. Anybody did anything wonderful or fun for the new year? If you did anything fun for the new year, let me know. I think I was in bed right at, if not just after midnight. All right. All right. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about. IG, I'm not sure if Keisha's on with, I believe it's Impeccable Cleaning Services. You had asked me about, I had dropped whether or not you guys had any questions before, anything you wanted me to discuss on this platform as I go live from time to time. And one of the things that you said you wanted me to talk about was transferring your vehicle. I know that's right. Listen, we always on the same wave. But she wanted to talk about transferring your vehicle from your personal to your business name. And so we're going to discuss that a little bit. We'll discuss, if you're using a tax professional this year, some of the items that you'll need to get started, because if you're returning to a preparer versus going with the same preparer, some items that you may need for them to successfully prepare your returns. What else did I want to talk about? Mileage. We're in the first month, so guys, let's make sure we're doing proper record keeping. So I want to talk about that a little bit in our record keeping and making sure that we're doing everything so that we don't run into a situation where if the IRS audits us, where we're being disallowed any expenses that we claimed on our return. We do not want to be in that situation because they will do it if they can. And the only thing to keep that from happening is to make sure you're doing proper record keeping and you're keeping up with those documents, providing them to your tax professional or your accountant, whomever you're using for tax preparation. Make sure that you're submitting that information over to them, so that, because what we do is we keep a copy of your records also, so that kind of gives you backup, so to speak, with that. So as we go into tax season 2020, guys, again, this is going to be a crazy tax season. I know it already. I feel it in my bones that this is going to be a crazy tax season. Congress, as we know, makes the laws. Let me do this really quick first. For those who do not know me, I am Tawanna with Bryant Business Solutions, a full-service virtual tax and accounting firm based out of Columbia, South Carolina, but we are 100% virtual, so we can serve you anywhere in the U.S. Let's see, looking to purchase a new vehicle, what type of limits are there on the type of vehicle and cost? Okay, I will definitely get to that question. Let me see if I'm able to do a question box. Okay. Do you Ty, do you see a box on that side there? Because I don't want the box, the questions to get lost in the discussion. Do you see a box? I don't know. I know my thing keeps saying poor connection, so I don't know if it went out. So if there's a box for questions, if you could type that question in the box. You do see a question box? Okay, if you could pop it in there, because what I'm gonna do at the end is that's okay. No. This is something, listen, I'm just learning this whole IG and social media thing. But if you have a question, if there's a box available for you to pop your questions into, pop your questions in the box so that to okay. Pop it in the box just so that I can I won't miss it if people come on, and as the comments roll, I can catch it. I can be sure that I catch it. All right. So as I was saying, so we're in the first part of the year, and we want to make sure that we're doing proper documentation. Now is a better time than any because we're at the beginning of the year. So if you have a vehicle and you're operating a business, whatever type of business it is that you're operating, be sure that you are tracking your miles, guys. We're at the beginning of the year. It's Q1. Let's go. But be sure that you're tracking those miles, be it that you use Mile IQ, TaxBot. I personally like Stride Tax simply because it's free, number one. If you go over a certain amount of miles, it doesn't start charging you or anything. And it lets you track your miles as well as letting you track your business expenses. So say you go to Staples, you make a purchase, you can take a picture of that. When you get into your vehicle, whenever you go, wherever you're going for business purposes, you'll just push that this is for business, where you went, what the purpose was that you went for. And that way you're keeping up. It's the beginning of the year. I know that's one of the biggest areas that I see that people do not track their expenses. It's, it's I know it's easy to get away from you. I totally understand, but I do not want anyone to be in a situation where the IRS again is disallowing those expenses that that you're not tracking your vehicle, and they come back, and in the event that you're audited, if you're audited, then they can, like I said, disallow. And then the other part of that is, even if they disallow it, then if they disallow those expenses, then they're going to charge you penalties and interest back to when you filed your taxes. or when you made a payment. So we don't want to get into that situation there where they do that. Now, if you have a vehicle that you're wanting to transfer from personal to business, and you're operating an LLC, first and foremost, I recommend that you contact your insurance provider, because they may now expect you to have business insurance, because that risk is considered to be greater than your personal. So do that first. But if your vehicle is paid for, then be sure that you contact your DMV, or wherever your registration is at in your particular state, where you can take that, what's the thing called? The form that you could sign the vehicle over. You could sign it over to the business, and that way now it's operating in the business name. Now, if in fact the insurance company says no, you can't, there's no way we're going to let you, or the cost is too high for the insurance, and you decide, no, I don't want to do that, place a lien on it by your company. Just place a lien on that personal vehicle. Now the company technically owns the vehicle. So that's a little loophole, or a way around that, in the event that you can't successfully do that. Now, when it comes to tax season, and this is my practices within Bryant Business Solutions. This is how we operate. One thing, for my clients, my current clients, just know that your tax organizers are coming. However, I am switching over systems that I'm using for your portal. So you'll more than likely get a link, and you'll be able to better track where we are in the process. So I'm going to enjoy that. My coach actually created this platform for us, and I'm super excited about getting started using it. I just got to get everything switched over to that platform, as it just rolled out for us. So I want to do that. I will be getting your tax organizers out. So as tax season is upon us, I'll what your preparer will need from you, there's some things that we definitely need every year, and then there's some things that we only need if you're a new client. So if you're a new client, be sure that we get a copy of your identification. It could be a state issued ID. It could be your driver's license. Um, we can use passports. There's some alternatives. Just check with your tax professional as to exactly what it is that they need from you. A copy, and that's only needed for the taxpayer and the spouse. Okay. For the Social Security card, we need a copy of that. We must have a copy on file. If you do not have a copy, for whatever reason, it was lost, stolen, misplaced, you can't find it, cut up, shred up. I know mine had ended up with ink on it. Where it came from, I have no clue. However, if your card is damaged, or you just don't have it on hand, you can apply at ssa.gov for a new Social Security card, and supply us with that application and then once you get it in, then, just give us the application that you applied. And then once you get it in, then make sure that you get us a copy of the Social Security card. I don't know what any other companies' practices are. Typically, I will not release the return until I have everything. However, I will go ahead and prep for you and file for you. But of course, the goal is for you to have a copy of your return. The other thing that we need is a copy of all of your 1099s. Unemployment, big thing this year. So make sure that you wait on that document from unemployment, if you did in fact receive unemployment due to COVID, or for any other reason. If you received unemployment, be sure to wait on that document. One of the documents that I see that's missed the most, where people file and then the IRS says you didn't file all of your income, and we want you to, like you need to amend your taxes or whatever, is the 1099-R. If you took money out of your 401k for any reason, whatever the reason is, be sure that you give us a copy of that, because the IRS is looking for the amounts to match. If the employers or the lenders, whomever submitted documents to them, they want to make sure the checks and balances are there. You may be wondering, well, how does the IRS know that I made money? Unless somebody put cash in your hands, they're responsible for keeping up with that, even if you're a subcontractor and you're 1099. One thing for my 1099 individuals that I implore you to do, if you hire subcontractors, get a W-9 on the front end. Do not try to get that on the back end. I have seen cases where people get a contract, an electrician specifically is who I'm speaking of that I can think off the top of my head where the situation happened. He was taking these large contracts, would subcontract and employ 3-4 guys to take care of the jobs. Did not get a 1099 from a W-9 from any of them so that he can in fact issue the 1099 at the end of the year. End of the year comes, he gets this 6-figure income from the contract that he won, of course. Well, now he can't say I paid all of these people because he doesn't have any documentation. He has not, he doesn't have any record that he actually, paid anyone that money. But what you want to be able to do is, if that person earns $600 from you, you are required as a business owner, you are required to issue them a 1099. Well, the way that you get their information is from the W-9. So my contractors, those of you who employ people for what various reasons to subcontract out jobs or to do other work for you, be sure you're getting a 1099 from those individuals. Okay. So the 1099s, you want to make sure that you're giving, you want to give as far as your dependents are concerned, we have more extensive due diligence requirements. We get fined larger fines for missed questions, unanswered questions, for not documenting. Whereas if you filed your taxes on your own, you would have the same cares, but your the guidelines aren't as stringent for you. The guidelines are pretty strict for us. It's when it comes to child tax credit, earned income credit, and the due diligence requirements. So please, please, please don't get bent out of shape when your preparer is asking all of these questions. We ask all these questions because we are required to report this information to the IRS because we are in fact paid preparers. Okay. I see it, and I know there's some level of frustration because there's a lot of questions that we have to ask, and we don't like it either. Just know we do not like it either. But we have to do our jobs, just as whatever industry you're in, you may have certain requirements or certain things that you do within your job. Okay. Let's see, if you had a change of address, be sure that you're filing those changes of address with the IRS. Okay. Let me see, the form I believe is 8222, but let me double check that. But you make sure that you're filing that change of address with the IRS. If you're expecting an economic impact, well, if you're expecting a payment, $600 check, if you are expecting that and you have moved, be sure you go into irs.gov and make any updates that you need to make. Otherwise, if you've moved, of course, you run the risk of whomever lives there getting your check. In some cases, it may be returned to the IRS and then reissued. For direct deposits, if your account has been closed, then they're going to then issue you a check more likely than not. Okay. So when it comes to the stimulus payment, just make sure, as with your taxes, we need to know if you've had any changes. Did you get married? Did you get divorced? Did you have a baby? We want to know those things. I always tell my clients, I want to have a relationship with you like your doctor. We go into the doctor's office, we tell them all our business, like all our business, okay? And we tell them all of our business, and then, they're able to make an assessment as to what our diagnosis is. And typically they're right? So then they give us a prescription, we go get that prescription filled. we should be functioning in that same manner. You guys should be giving us this information if it's going to impact your finances, if there are going to be any changes. If you receive the PPP or EIDL funding, be sure that you let us know that. I don't know, like I said, what anyone uses. I know for my company, we use a tax organizer to pull the information together. But if you did, in fact, receive either of those things do or can impact your taxes. So make sure you let us know exactly what it is that you received, and if also if you've applied for forgiveness or not. Um, um, let's see. Let's see. What else do we need? A lot of people this year are going to have business use of their home, because that's going to be your primary workplace. So check with your tax professional as to exactly, what you need to claim that, if you are in fact eligible to claim those deductions. Be sure that you let your provider know. Um, like I said, the actual vehicle expenses, we need to know how many miles you've driven. A lot of mileage is going to go down. So listen, guys, don't go in there falsifying. It's going to look crazy if your miles are the same last year as they were this year or more if you're not in an industry that you're traveling like that. It's going to look real crazy. I'm sure those will be red flags. The actual IRS audits will be ramped up 50%. So like they're giving a lot of money. The government is giving a lot of money, and it's great that they're giving all of this money. But I'm sure, well, they've already announced that audits are going to be ramped up, but I'm sure they're going to be coming for those type of things. They're going to be coming for those type of things first. Anything that's a trigger. If you have if you have a mileage and you're using nice round numbers, this is one of the things that I have in one of my ebooks. If you're using nice round numbers, oh, I drove 500 miles, oh, I drove 1,000 miles, that raises a red flag. Be sure that you're not doing that, okay? So that you can eliminate that risk of being audited. Now, one thing that I was on a strategy session this week, and one person asked me, well, what if I, they asked me, what can I do to not get audited? Absolutely nothing. We're at risk for audit. You're at risk for audit. The thing is, what you can do is be prepared. Have your ducks in a row. Have all of your documentation. Have your be honest with your information, and have documentation to back that up. I think I have a little kid coming in that's smiling at me here. I got an extra body, guys, that's joining me. Say hey to Cash, everyone. Cash is joining me on live tonight. For whatever reason, he gets excited. He gets excited when when he gets in here, that he wants to come in here with his TT. Uh, so, but yeah, and for those of you, listen, I'm completely transparent. I don't try to hide or have the kids. Oh, I want them to stay quiet, but I want to make sure that the kids, you know, you see me in my element. I'm not cross all the T's and dot all the I's, except for when it comes to your business. Okay. But as far as the transparency, this is real life. This is what happens when he comes in the house. He busts in the room, whatever room I'm in, or he knocks on the door. But back to your taxes. If you sold a home, if you purchased a home, we need to know those things. Okay. If you are a small business owner, make sure that you're gathering all your documents for your expenses. If you are not doing your bookkeeping or having your bookkeeping completed monthly every month, and you're reconciling at the end of the month, be sure that you're getting those documents to us. Okay, we want a copy of your reconciliation, your profit and loss statement that breaks in your balance sheet, that breaks everything down for us, so we know where to allocate advertising, supplies, office expenses. Remember, if you pay a tax professional, if you pay an attorney for professional fees, if you're a business owner, those are in fact tax deductible. Now, let me tell you the limitations, okay? What your tax preparer is not. Your tax preparer, unless it stipulates it in your agreement with them, they are not your year-round tax preparer. They're not. Once we give you those deliverables, that concludes your services with that professional, unless they decide to extend additional services to you. If they do, it's a courtesy. Understand that it's a courtesy. They're not there to answer questions year-round as you have them. So if you have a preparer that does that for you, be grateful, okay? Because I know plenty that will shut it down out the gate and will not provide any additional information. They won't provide any additional information outside of tax season. Of course, we know like the major brands, a lot of them close down. Some are open on like certain days. But if you have a virtual preparer that is year round, that handles other services and things of that nature, more likely than not, a lot of them will extend additional services, but it is not a requirement. So please know that, because I've been having a lot of discussions about that with my colleagues, and people expecting something that's outside of the scope of their engagement. So I just want it to be clear that, you know, the professionals, that's what their service is for. Even if, let's say, you get bookkeeping services from them, if you get bookkeeping services and you don't get payroll, you know, payroll is not a part of that. If they decide to answer your questions or do something for you, understand it's a courtesy, okay? Let's see. Anyone have any questions? Any questions as we go along? Like I said, I only had the one that I believe was submitted. I only have the one that I believe was submitted, but you can, I'm trying to, let's see, here we go. And I did get that answered. If there's anything, I have your question, Ty. I hadn't forgotten about you. Facebook, any comments, any questions and I'm speaking specifically right now regarding tax season, being prepared to file your taxes. It's going to be some delay. I anticipate, like I said, this being a crazy tax season. I anticipate there being a crazy tax season. So just, I mean, get ready, be patient. Don't think that your preparer, don't think that your preparer is neglecting you or they're forgetting about you. They're not. It's just gonna, like I said, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be some delays. The child tax credit, earned income credit, those individuals, EIC, which are normally, we call them first filers. Those first filers, there's like after February 15th, of course, you know, is approximately when you will receive your refund if you file early. So just be prepared for that, okay? Let's see. What else is there? I had something else. Unemployment. If you did not have taxes withheld when you were getting your unemployment payments, be sure that, you know, in some cases, people are expecting refunds that they're not going to get. Okay. You're not going to get refunds in some cases because you now have to pay taxes on that money that you received. It's not tax free. What else is there? Hmm. When it comes to Ty, when it comes to your, so I had a question. What type of limits are there as far as the type of vehicle you can, and I'm assuming that you can purchase and the cost? There's not really a limitation on the type or the cost. Oh, you said you submitted another one. Okay. Um, there's not a limitation as it pertains to the type or cost, but there are depreciation limitations on vehicles. Um, when you're using, especially when you're using it in when you're using it in a trade or a business. So there are limitations on that, but not necessarily on what you can purchase. And the depreciation is just gonna depend. It's not a like a um now just keep in mind if the vehicle exceeds if it's leased. So if you lease versus purchasing the vehicle, it's going to vary. And if you lease the vehicle, the fair market value really shouldn't exceed $50,000 on it. But there are people who use luxury vehicles in like driving Uber or Lyft or things of that nature. Then those people, of course, the limitations change when it's based on that. Let's see. Can a business have a monthly expense paid to the owner of the business? Yes. And that's called the Augusta rule. And I know how you are, Ty. So that's called the Augusta rule. And there's so many days that you can, let me make sure I have that correct. Hold up. That's expense paid to the for business. Okay, so the question is, guys, can a business have a monthly expense paid to the owner of the business for use of the home? Can the Can a business have a monthly expense paid to the owner of the business? Okay, let me say that the Augusta rule actually pays the owner of the home, not the business owner. But the business owner can, in fact, be the owner of the home. But it's under the Augusta rule, and I'll actually send you some more information on that. I thought I had sent that over. It would. Oh, okay, okay. Um, I thought I had sent that over with your tax plan, but if not, I'll get that over to you tomorrow. About the Augusta rule with some information on that, because you could definitely. You got what I was asking. Okay, but you to tie. All right. I made a note, so I'll be sending that over to you tomorrow. Um, but it is the Augusta rule, and you can, in fact, be leaving money on the table if you are not renting your home back to your business, basically for business use of your home. So, but it's under tax planning, and it requires some steps for setup. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Hiring your children, guys. You have kids um, as young as 7 or even newborns if you're using them in advertisements. So say you're taking pictures of your kids and you're using them on your flyers, or if you have a clothing line for babies, or you're using them in your advertisements. If you have a business, make sure that you've hired your children. Now, there's some stipulations for having that set up, but make sure you're hiring your business, because now you can deduct from your business expenses up to $12,400. Now, for some of our heavier hitters in business with your expenses, you definitely want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of the write-offs as possible. However, this is another conversation that we've been having. Don't try to take all the write-offs. Just, let me find write-offs, because remember, you're going to want to at some point buy a house, especially if you're a 100% entrepreneur. You're going to want to buy a house. You're going to want to purchase a car. You have to show some expenses, like some profit, because now you can't get funding because you're not showing any profits. Like, you know, yes, you can pay zero taxes, but then what are you losing as a result of that? So again, I'm heavy and big on tax planning. Let's get some tax planning in. You can book the link below to book a strategy call so that we can discuss, what it is that you're trying to do, whether tax planning even makes sense for you at this point, and some of the probably the viable options for you in your business or things that you can do. One of the ones that if you're set up as a LLC, you definitely can hire your children. Now, you're not required to set them up on payroll, but it is encouraged that you do, that you set it up on payroll, just for tracking purposes. But you want to make sure that if you have an S corp, you do in fact have it set up on payroll. Okay, there's some nuances there. Another thing that I'm seeing a lot of is everyone saying they want an S corp. I want an S corp. I want an S corp, but they are not prepared to do the administrative duties to really be a viable S corp. You're not making enough money. If you're not making enough money to pay yourself a reasonable salary, don't go in there as an S corp. Don't let nobody just go setting you up as an S corp. I don't care if it's an attorney. I actually have a client that's an attorney, and we've talked about this. And of course, the attorney's going to give you information from a legal standpoint. I always encourage my business owners to have an accountant on their team and an attorney because there's different things that come into play. I know intellectual property and branding of your trademark and things of that nature when it comes to your business and legal protection. But then there's tax implications for you doing these things. You can, in fact, lose your S corp status if you are not doing the proper things that it's required to keep it. Okay, so don't go just, oh, I'm an S corp. It's almost like you get S corp, you get S corp, but then what happens when you lose the status? What happens when you're not doing the proper record keeping to be an S corp? And I honestly will screen my clients to say, okay, yeah, they're ready for that, or no, they're not. I'm pretty straight up with my clients. I let them know, yeah, you're ready. I have a client that has impeccable record keeping, and she's on tonight. But she has like an amazing record keeping, like, and she's doing what she needs to do to keep her S corp status. She's been doing what she needed to do, even as an LLC. She goes above and beyond the requirements to make sure that her I's are dotted and her T's are crossed, but you want to be responsible with it. Again, everyone that's on social media, and I'm not bashing anyone, but everyone that's on social media that's setting up businesses or structures or entity types, they don't really fully all the time understand, and it can be an attorney. They don't always understand the implications, or they're not explaining to the clients what the implications are of setting up an S corp. Okay. So again, you want to make sure that you are in fact following the guidelines for an S corp. Let's see. I believe that is about all that I really wanted to go over. Again, let's be patient with our tax professionals and accounting professionals this year. Give us a little bit of grace, guys. Like I said, if you're going to a new professional, make sure you're giving them a copy of your identification, social security card. And the other thing is prior year tax return, because there may be something that you don't even think about putting on your tax organizer or providing to us, that as we're looking at your prior year, we're like, oh, wait a minute, hold up, you're missing some stuff here. Where are these items at? So we look at your prior year return just to make sure that we're not missing anything. I would love for you to come be a part in partnership with Bryant Business Solutions. You can book a call on the link below, book a discovery call. And what we do on that call is mainly, we're not answering any like specific tax questions or anything, but what we're doing is finding out a little bit about your business, where you are, where you're trying to go, and then what we can offer you that best meets your needs. Because it's about serving you, and it's a service. We try to, as much as possible, go above and beyond what our clients expect. We want to deliver more value than what you're expecting. And I hope we're doing that at this point. I'm saying a lot. Okay. But join us over on Clubhouse. If you're not on Clubhouse, like I said, join us on Clubhouse, Tawanna BBS3 LLC. Join us. We'll have a panel of accountants and tax professionals. Again, one is in e-commerce. She'll be talking about some sales tax. There's some things with Shopify that doesn't happen that, that should be happening as far as your sales tax is concerned. Or even if you're just a regular, if you don't have a Shopify store or anything like that, but you're required to pay sales tax for each state. And then even who is required to pay sales tax, um, she'll talk a little bit about that on there. We'll have one whose specialty is for our beauty industry, and she does trades as well. We have one from trucking. So we'll have a good mixture of areas of expertise, or niche, what we call niche markets. Even though we may market to a certain niche market, we can serve just about anyone. However, like for me, for example, I have a point of contact where I refer all of my e-commerce people that come to me. But I do work with her on your items. So you're kind of getting a 2-for-1, which is also always great. But again, join us on Clubhouse at 9 p.m. and we will be loading up the discussion over there. I hope this session provided you with the information that you needed to help you get prepared for tax season. I will be coming on Tuesdays. I'm gonna start playing with the time a little bit though, but I'll be coming on Tuesdays for Tax Talk Tuesdays with Tawanna, and I'll be coming on to have just discussions with you. How are you? Is it Bodman Rambari? I don't know why I want to feel like that's my son. Perfectly Blue, how are you? Let me know where you're checking in from. Thanks, Ty. And like I said, thanks, Ty. I don't know if it's because I keep getting a pause, but I will definitely get that information over to you tomorrow regarding the Augusta rule for your property. Oh, that is my son. Hey, son. I hope you're doing okay and feeling better. But again, join us on Clubhouse. If you're not on Clubhouse, sign up if you have an iPhone. It's only for iPhone users. So sign up if you have an iPhone. Come check us out. Join in on the discussion. Come get some additional questions answered. Again, I hope we provided you with what you needed to get prepared for this current tax season. It's going to be crazy, but I'm ready for it. All right. I hope everyone has a wonderful night, and I will talk with you again soon.